Okay, this is your mini lesson on our next topic in ALEKS, solving for a variable. The learning goal for this lesson is given a multivariable equation, students will be able to solve for a variable in terms of another variable. So what does that mean? Well, your equations are going to have more than one variable and you're going to have to solve for one of those variables. Let's look at an example. So there's 3 levels to this assignment or to this Edpuzzle. Level 1 is solving for a variable in terms of another variable with addition and subtraction. So the first few problems that we're going to look at are going to focus on completing this task using the operations of addition and subtraction, or subtraction, I should say. Okay, so here we're going to start off with solving for n. Says solve for n, and we have 15 plus n is equal to m. First, just to focus on what we're working on, I'm just going to draw a quick line here. All right, so we're looking to solve for n. So 15 plus n is equal to m. Now, what's different about this one is we're not actually solving for a numerical value. We're just going to make sure that when we're done, the equation says n equals. All right, as long as you have one n by itself equals everything else, then you're done. So this is different because you're used to solving equations saying, I don't know, x equals 35 or j equals -2/8 or something like that. This time your answer is going to have variables in it, okay? So 15 plus n is equal to m. To solve, I need to get n by itself as seen over here. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. Positive 15 and negative 15 cancel out. And I cannot combine these terms because they're not like terms. So I'm left with m minus 15. And that is my final answer. I'm done. N is equal to m minus 15. That's it. So be comfortable with your answer having a variable in it because you cannot combine 1m and -15. They are not like terms. All right, next we're going to try this with solving for a. So we're told 18 plus a is equal to b. And we are not done until we have a equals. So to get a by itself, we need to get rid of this term over here. And since it's being added to it, we're going to subtract it from it. That would be the opposite. So I subtract 18 from both sides here, and I'm left with a is equal to, those cannot be combined, so b minus 18. And there's my final answer. And just like that, we're done. All right, these are all one-step equations. So what I want to give you a chance to do now is practice. You're going to solve for y in each of these 3. So we'll call this one 1, 2, and 3. And the video is going to pause now to give you a chance to practice. Okay. When solving for y in example 1, you should have had y is equal to 14 minus b. And you should have had, for number 2, y is equal to x minus 16. And now I'm going to give you a second chance to pause and do number 3. Okay, and for number 3, you should have y is equal to to 12 minus b. Okay, now we're moving on to the next level, Solving for a variable in terms of another variable with multiplication or division. So this time we're going to be using multiplication or division. So we have h is equal to a divided by 3 for our very first one, and we are solving for a. Well, if I want a by itself and a is being divided by 3, the opposite of dividing by 3 would be multiplying by 3, which means I need to multiply both sides by 3 to free my a. So a divided by 3 then multiplied by 3 cancels out, and we're left with just a. And 3 times h is equal to 3 groups of h. And that's our final answer. We have solved this equation for a. For our second example, we have solve for g. 2g is equal to w. Again, that essentially just means that 2 times g, or 2 groups of g, is equal to w. Now, our goal is to solve for g. We have 2 groups of g. We want 1 group of g. So this time I have to do the opposite. Since 2 is being multiplied by g, I have to do the opposite of that and divide by 2. So since it was being multiplied, that's why I'm doing the opposite and dividing. By doing that, we end up with 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we have 1g is equal to w divided by 2. Final answer. I'm going to pause the video here and let you solve for some of the examples below. We'll call this one 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so in number 1, when you solve for a, you should have a is equal to 4 times h. And number 2, when you solve for h, you should have a divided by 6 is equal to h. And we're going to pause again to give you a chance to do number 3. Okay, and the solution for 3, solving for w is equal to 7 times g. And now we're going to move on to the next level. All right, so level 3, solving for a variable in terms of another variable with addition or subtraction with division, okay? As you can see, we're combining more and more operations as we increase levels. So this one says solve for x. So let's get started on the first one up top. Z is equal to 3x minus 7y. And we're looking to solve for x, which is right here. Now, before we can solve for this piece or this term, we first need to get rid of this term. So what we're going to do to get rid of that term is since we have a minus 7y, we're going to add 7y to both sides. By doing so, we have 7 plus zy is equal to 3 times x, because our negative 7y and our positive 7y canceled out. We're going to need a little bit more space here. So now we have z plus 7y is equal to 3 times x. We want to get 1 group of x instead of 3 groups of x, so we divide both sides by 3. And I have to divide the entire opposite side by 3 as well. Now my 3x divided by 3, those are going to give me 1x, right? Because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So now I have 1x. And on this side, I cannot simplify any further. So my final answer is going to be z plus 7y divided by 3. Final answer. I'm going to leave this example up while I work on the next problem, but so things don't get too confusing, I'm going to change the color. So we're going to work on our next example over here. So we have A is equal to 4B plus C. And we're asked to solve for B. Well, before we can get B by itself, we need to make sure it's the only term on that side first. So I'm going to get rid of this plus C, and the opposite of a plus C is a minus C. Now, A and C are different variables, so those cannot be combined because they're not like terms. So I have A minus C is equal to 4 times B. Now I'm a little bit closer to getting B by itself. I have 4 groups of B. I want 1 group of B. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. I have 4B divided by 4. That is 1B. And on the left side, I still have A minus C divided by 4. Final answer, as those are not like terms and cannot be combined any smoother than that. Now, if you want to pause here on your own and take some notes, feel free to do so because I'm going to clear this page so I have space to do my next example. Okay, so for my last example, we have D is equal to 5 times M plus 9 times N. And we're solving for N. So we're going to subtract both sides from 5M. By doing so, I'm a little bit closer to getting that 9N by itself like I want. So now I have D minus 5M. Sorry, I don't know why this is starting to act up all of a sudden. Is equal to 9N. Now I'm almost a little bit closer to solving. I need to divide both sides by 9 though, because I have 9 groups of N and I want to solve for 1N. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9. And that is going to give me 1N is equal to D minus 5M divided by 9. Final answer. Now I'm going to give you guys a chance to practice. I want you to solve for B here, for B again here, and for X here. Okay, for number 1, B is going to equal A minus C divided by 3. For number 2, B is going to equal A minus 5C divided by 2. And for the last one, X is going to equal Z plus 4Y divided by 3. So here's what I want you to do now. Follow the link and complete the exit ticket after completing this lesson, okay? And then when you're done with that, you just reviewed a new skill. That means you need to practice. You need to practice to get your kinks out. You need to practice to reinforce what you learned in a positive way. So after your exit ticket, your homework is to do ALEKS assignment 1.1U. This is due by 6 a.m. the following day. And after that, there'll be points deducted for late submissions. Good luck.